I can start by introducing myself. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sophia Salaman, and I'm the executive editor for the World of Interiors magazine. I've been at the magazine for, I think, around 17 years, which is quite a long time in this day and age, but wow. It's a beautiful magazine, and it's a pleasure to work there and see the things that I see and take part in events like this. So it's really a highlight. And I just want to introduce Fredericke from Zimmer and Rohde, who can, well, she can introduce herself.
So yeah, I'm working in the textile industry for 20 years right now, but I studied fashion and textile design back then in Paris. And afterwards I did very different things, always regarding textiles. It was 2005, I started to research in sustainable textiles and sustainable fashion. And so I was part of a team that was creating one of the first trade shows dealing with sustainable fashion in 2010 in Berlin. And 5 years back, I started to switch the branch from fashion into interior textiles. And for 3 years now, I'm design director for Hodsoll McKenzie and creating those collections for Zimmer and Rohde. So it's quite a journey also.
How do you think we use natural materials today? How has that changed with regards to sustainability?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's, since like my main knowledge I gained in the fashion business, in the fashion industry. And when I came to, when I started with dealing with interior textiles, it was quite surprising in both ways. In the first place, it was surprising because I saw that a lot of discussions we have in fashion, we did not have them, or we do not have them in interior textiles in that intensivity, or not that intense, or that on the one hand. On the other hand, the way we treat textiles in interior in this branch is very different, because it's just about textiles. And fashion, it's also about shape and clothing and all this. And here it's really just about the textile. If we put a curtain on the window, it's only about what this textile means to us. It's changing the room so much, and we don't change it so fast as we change let's say a piece of clothing, which is, we are wearing it for one day and then we just put it away. Here we get into the room and we possibly keep it 3, 5, 10 years. So, and this is just basically, it's a more sustainable approach to fabrics, or it's a higher appreciation. But on the other hand, if you really dive deep into this topic, I think we do have still a lot of homework to do.
Now that when you bring in that element of sustainability, there's so many different components to it, to kind of creating it. And I guess that's where it all starts, is that there has to be more thought behind it and more of a thought out process to how it is made, because it's something new, I guess, that the companies are doing, such as yourselves.
If you're talking about craftsmanship, it's highly important for what we are doing. We are really relying very much on it. And talking about innovation always starts with technologies that already exist, and we really try to find out, okay, how do these technologies work, and then we try to improve them, for example. So it's and craftsmanship. And what I think is quite interesting, if we look at what innovation is today, regarding manufacturing, but also regarding materials, somehow we are going very much back to the roots, because let's say manufacturing, we are very much talking about digital process. We're very much talking about prototyping, for example, getting back to, reducing the amount of production in order to make customized products. For example, people or clients are willing to wait longer to get the exact perfect product in the end. And this is nothing else than what craftsmanship is, When I'm looking at what's happening today in interior design or interior business, I can see that people are really trying to find solutions for the scarcity of resources, for example. They really try to create efficient solutions, and they really try, what I said, to find customized or really made to measure solutions. And they are very, very, very creative in using natural resources or natural plant-based materials. So what I think was really amazing when I did this research for me to see that there is a huge trend in, I just call it from making to growing. So people try not to make so much, but they really try to see what can grow, because everything what's growing, it's normally also biodegradable again, or perfectly biodegradable again, and can regrow. So this is the kind of the first step into a circular design or circular products. Possibly you already heard about the slogan reuse, repair, recycle, or reduce, reuse, repair, recycle, which are like the main tasks we're having when we're talking about resources and designing. And I'm showing you here some like this is a recycled PET bottle. This is how it looks like. This is a recycled wool, which are, let's say, the two, for me, the two opposites. Recycled fibers I can use for textiles. And on the other hand, I show here some for me again quite interesting ways of recycling and creating something new out of waste, because everything what you can see here is waste, and I think we have to and we already do, we really reconsider waste to be a very beautiful and fruitful source of inspiration, but also for producing new products. So down here, what I think is really, really beautiful is a Mexican designer who creates furniture out of coffee ground.
That's lovely. The ceramic.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's made of toxic waste from the aluminium industry.
Wow.
Again, kind of, redefining waste, even the worst one.
I mean, it amazes me these days what people can, when it comes to creating pieces, what you can recycle and what you can reuse again. It's just it seems to be changing all the time. There seem to be kind of so many people are so innovative when it comes to using or reusing waste, recycling it. So we have another very interesting question from Patricia, who's asked, would you agree that at this moment in time, sustainable fabrics and materials in general for design and construction are more in an evolutionary period rather than revolution? So the revolution is still ahead of us. The so-called system is unable to adapt to a quick change. So I guess what she's saying is, at this moment, it's still evolving in the way that people are looking at ways of becoming more sustainable when it comes to design and interior design and construction, which I think is right. I think it's still evolving.
Yeah, that's now I have to give two different answers. The first answer would be a very personal one, and the second answer would be a more professional one. Let's say my personal answer is yes, you're right. I have the feeling that we are looking, like if we're looking about the evolution of us becoming more and more aware of sustainability and changing our mindset, changing our lifestyle, we are heading towards the right direction. But we don't have time for that. We need a revolution in order to save the planet, which sounds a bit polemic, I know, but it's like that. I really like easy messages, let's say, and talking about the sustainability and the urge of sustainability. I think the Earth Overshoot Day is a very, very easy message. We started to celebrate the Earth Overshoot Day in the 1970s. And 1970 was the first time we were using more material than nature could renew. So we were overshooting our resources in 1970. Today, we are celebrating Earth Overshoot Day in month of August. So we are using so much more, we are wasting so much more than we have. And if we were going on with that, or evolutionary change us, it will take too long. We really we need some kinds of revolutions. And revolution always sounds like battle, as I said, and sounds like being angry and everything. This doesn't need to be, because, for example, circular design, zero waste design, circular products, that's a revolution as well. And it's a very friendly, a very peaceful revolution, I would say.
But do you think it also has something to do with the fact that we live in a culture which is very much aimed towards consuming in certain ways? So that has to kind of change as well, I guess, when it comes to creating waste.
Well, the inventor of the cradle-to-cradle system, Braungart, he was saying in the beginning, when he started to spread the message, he was saying there's no problem with consuming as soon as you're consuming 100% recycle, things that you can recycle 100%, which is circular things, and then you can consume as much as you want, because it won't harm anybody or anything.
It's also made people more mindful of when it comes to consuming, kind of buying, of investing in, I guess, not just pieces that are sustainable, but also pieces that are built to kind of stand the test of time, that will last for longer. So we're not in this culture where we're kind of changing the fabrics in our home every so many years, where it's they're waiting a little bit longer to do these things, because you're investing in pieces that can stand the test of time for a longer amount of time, I guess, that are kind of more timeless in design and also in appearance and how they're made and the quality of them too.
Yeah, that's true.
How important do you think is the role of the designer in kind of in kind of maintaining these craft techniques or in preserving them?
In fact, it's even our duty to preserve certain techniques, or to keep
them alive as well. Huh? To keep them alive as well, I guess.
To preserve them, to keep them alive, but also to acknowledge them. Because in fact, when I'm designing, let's say, wait, let me stop this. So now I'm destroying my lamp. So this, for example, this is a fabric I was doing for Hodsoll McKenzie for the 1851 collection. This is a very kind of, for me, it's quite a new design. I loved it because it's so chunky, and you have this stitch, and you see it's using 20 threads per stitch in order to make this embroidery really, really chunky.
Yeah.
In fact, what's happening here, it's a very, very traditional fly stitch. So we're using this kind of embroidery, like this aesthetics of embroidery, for more than 150 years now. And it was starting in UK, in fact. So it's very British even. And so for me as a designer, if I see this fabric, I can say, oh well, that's a beautiful fabric. But in fact, for me, it's my duty to understand and to dive deep to the very, very origin of my design, to understand where it comes from. And if I'm using techniques which aren't part of my personal culture or a part of my, I really have to name it, and I also have to give credit, And I see a lot of different print techniques, a lot of different embroidery techniques which we are using, and it's beautiful. We should do that, we should spread the word, but we should tell people where it comes from, and we should know it by ourselves. So this is something I think it's very, very important.
How do you kind of mix all these cultures together in creating the fabrics, the designs?
What I have to try to find out is what's our common mindset, what's our common view on the world, and what are our needs and what are our values. And I think that values and needs aren't a regional thing anymore, because we're all growing so much together. But I think a very important thing, if you deal with different cultures, is the high appreciation of the different cultures. So for me, for example, if I meet somebody, and for us in Europe, it's very normal that we do not expect that they come from the same city or they come from the same country. Even I don't even expect them to speak the same language, you know. And it's the same how I should approach design. You know, I have to be open for being surprised, and I have to assume that I don't know everything about this. There's this next problem we're having when we're talking about sustainability. It's the pricing and the timeline, you know.
And the supply chains as well, because I'm sure an international company like Zimmer and Rohde, how can you improve your supply chains in a more sustainable way? As you just mentioned, that you might have one fabric that's produced in Italy, another one that's made from the linen and that comes from northern France. So this is another element to think about too.
Again, Zimmer and Rohde, compared to, let's say, big fashion companies, is a small company. It's a family-driven company in the fourth generation, you know. And so this means that we do have certain ways of making business. Our owner, he's traveling, or he was traveling when we still were allowed to travel. He was traveling to our most important suppliers. He's knowing them for sometimes 20, 30 years, you know. And also our head of design, we are traveling to those suppliers. We're having kind of really close relationships to them. And we have also, it's our standard to, if I want to invent something new, develop a new fabric, first thing I do is to see if some of our regular suppliers is able to do that for me. We do know a lot about our suppliers, but this is just the first tier suppliers. So these are the weaving mills. Possibly we do know some printing houses, of course. Maybe we know some finishers, but obviously we don't have any contact to spinning mills or farmers, you know. So again, talking about sustainability, it's not that the supply chain is not only about my direct suppliers, but it's all the suppliers behind.
Yeah, I guess it starts with the direct ones, and then it's kind of a tier. It must be a very big concept to think about. Yeah.
Yes, and there's no reason for me to get in contact with the farmer, because I don't need him for my creation process. You know.
But it's really how people think about it, each person or at each stage of the production as well, I guess, too. It's the mindset.
Yes, so I really have to rely on my supplier that he has the same values and he's doing the same as I'm doing with him, he's doing with his suppliers.
So Patricia has asked, what do you think about the exclusivity of sustainable materials for design? Do you feel it is still considered as something available for the extra price tag and for your everyday Joe? Or is your everyday Joe still more concerned about what they can afford rather than sustainability of, let's say, a fabric? I absolutely agree that the revolution is needed and that change is the only way to go, but it is a scale of the phenomenon that will make it happen. And I feel worldwide, everyday approach is still far from ideal, even taking the pandemic influences into account.
Yeah, I have something to answer on this, because it is not true that sustainable solutions are always more expensive than others. I think it's my duty as a designer, and it's our duty as company to choose the most sustainable solutions, you know, and to change immediately what we can change without paying more, without changing our systems, without changing our also our way of working economically, you know. And then as a second step, we have to find out what we can do more.
So maybe we should
stop, don't we? What does the audience say?
I have to make supper. I'm sure you have to have supper, and everyone else probably wants to have a drink or let their evenings begin. Fredericke, this was a real pleasure to chat to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for listening. We hope you found it interesting, and have a lovely evening.
Have a lovely evening. Okay, so thank you everybody, and bye-bye, and have a great evening, and talk to you soon, Sophia.
Talk to you soon.